And as we have done for the last couple of High5 Lives, this one tonight will also be unscripted. So anything is fair game as it relates to topics, anything that anybody has questions about or wants help on, wants to know. We have the staff here ready to give you all of our information that we have stored in our brains, our big brains, and would love to do that tonight. One of the things, so to kind of kick things off, one of the things that we like to do is to share something that we are grateful for. So for the 5 of us that are on here, I just want to quickly go around and ask you to share one thing that you are grateful for. And I will go first, since that's one of our key messages. I go first. And what I am grateful for is the opportunity to do these live Facebook meetings, because it gives me an opportunity to practice and make sure that I'm prepared and am able to motivate and inspire people to get to their next level, because that's why I do what I do. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do these meetings.
I'll go. I am uber grateful for Uber. Now, I did have a great Uber ride today, for just super easy travel from San Diego to New York City, where I'm going to spend the next few days, and I am in the beautiful abode of Ms. Diana Miranda. So she's off watching the US Open, and so I'm super grateful for the fact that I get to hang out with her sweet little dog, Molly. So we're good.
Nice. Thanks. Who's next? Michelle, Dominic?
I will go next. I am grateful for some of the possibilities relative to modern medicine. And on Friday, I am going to have a procedure. I will have a procedure that will greatly enhance my quality of life. And I'm very excited about that.
I too am excited about that. That will be good for all of us.
Yes.
I'll go. I'm grateful for my kids moving forward. The Cassie's doing great in school, and Caleb had his counselor appointment today for college to get them all set up with classes. And I am grateful for their ambition and their moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you. Janet.
I had to figure out how to unmute it. I'm grateful for the wonderful little vacation I had with my entire family and my grandkids. It was just a great bonding, relaxing time.
Nice. Yay. Good for you. All right, Michelle, you're monitoring Facebook for us. So anybody out there grateful for anything? No, there's no gratefulness, gratitude. All right, that's all right.
No gratitude in Facebook land whatsoever.
There's no joy in Mudville.
No joy in Mudville. Now, keep in mind there is a delay, so they may just be getting the question.
Fair enough. All right. So thank you for that. And if you're out there on Facebook and you want to put in the comments there, what you are grateful for, we would love to hear that, because as you know, if you spend any time around us, we have a saying, thanks to Barb, that gratitude is the elevator to joy. So the fastest way for you to get to joy is to focus on what you're grateful for.
It's actually the express elevator to joy. There are no stops along the way. Straight to joy.
Thank you. Yeah, straight up to the top. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's why they got my back, people. Always there having my back to correct me on the rare occasion when I make a mistake. So, so put in the comments if you've got something that you're grateful for, And remember, focusing on gratitude, it really is the fastest way to raise your vibration, to raise your energy level, and to get to that space of joy. So we thought that for our next several High5 lives, that we would be focusing on one of our key messages that we have at High5 at each of our High5 lives. We're actually working on something really exciting that'll be coming out hopefully within the next month or so. It's going to be an online class, I guess would be the best way to describe that, where we're going to be talking about all the key messages that we have at High5. And we're spending some good time putting that together, and we'll be excited when that comes out. Should be done here hopefully within the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's our outcome. And so we thought tonight that we would start with, and let me just say this. There is no right or wrong order for the key messages. However, we did have an interesting discussion with the team last week where we sort of came to a consensus about the way that we thought it should flow. And does anybody out in Facebook or anybody on the call, so let's start there, does everybody know what the 7 key messages for High5 leadership are? I know, oh, Barb knows, Michelle knows, yay! All right, so it's kind of a loaded question. Everybody on the call knows. So we'll just put them out there. So I am at choice. I write my personal stories, my positive stories. I raise my vibe. Yeah, I raise my vibe. I choose joy. Vulnerability is the new strong. I am personally responsible. And what am I missing?
Choose joy?
No, I choose joy. What am I missing? I'm a choice. I raise my vibe. I choose joy. Vulnerability is the new strong. I write my personal stories. I'm personally responsible. And I go first. Thank you. There we go. I go first. Yes. So next time I will have those memorized. Bye, guys. Bye. And so the first one that we're going to talk about tonight is I am at choice. And I wanted to toss out a couple of questions just to kind of get the conversation going. And so the first question really is, what does I am at choice mean to you? So if you're out there in Facebook world, go ahead and type into the comments, what does I am at choice mean to you? And I'll just kind of open it up to the panel here. What does I am at choice mean to you? Dominic and I actually had an interesting conversation earlier this morning that I'll share here in a little bit. And Dominic, you're welcome to share that if you'd like. But what does I am at choice mean to you?
So, hi, I'm Michelle. Oh no, is that me feeding back? Never mind. Okay.
I'll go. So I'll talk about a little bit about the conversation we had earlier, and it was concerning the attitude that surrounds choice. So the saying that I am at choice seems pretty self-explanatory. We all know that we're at choice, but we don't carry the attitude that comes with it. A lot of times, I've been overweight most of my life, and I've never been a really big fan of diets. Couldn't figure it out. For 30 years, I couldn't figure out why I didn't like diets other than suppressing what I really want to eat and what I really want to do. Like nobody can tell me that I can't have that potato platter or that cheesecake or whatever it is that I want. But that was the crux of it, though. So when I get down to the very meat and bones of it, pardon the pun, that the choice of having that is what I want. That was my desire, the choice to have whatever I want. Now, when I switch that energy to, and I hear this a lot when people are on a diet, do you want that, do you want more, or do you want a cake or pie or whatever? And they say, no, I can't have that, I'm on a diet. That's the victim statement. When you say can't, as if somebody's forcing you to do that, that's when you feel powerless. And then that's when you go back on that diet and you eat whatever you want so you can feel powerful again and when you have that choice. But if you keep that power from the beginning, Like, I'm not saying I'm never going to have cake again. I might have it this Saturday. I might not have it for 9 months, but I choose to not have it today. So when I keep the power, I feel better about myself. I always feel better about myself when I make that positive choice rather than I can't, or I need to stay away, or they won't let me. Then eventually you want to regain that power back. You want to feel that again, and you can just by a shift of attitude. You're still not doing the behaviors that you wanted to stay away from or move towards a healthy lifestyle. But when you take on the attitude of, I am at choice, and I just choose not to have that today. That's my choice. And you make it a powerful statement. That's when I believe it's the most useful.
Yeah, good stuff. It really resonated with me when we were talking about that earlier today, Dominic. And the whole idea about victim statements, right? When we're giving up that power and we play that victim role, like I can't. So as you said, it really does take that power away. So thank you. Anybody else? What does I am at choice mean to you?
Marla says, school principal high-fiver extraordinaire, Marla Sullivan, says, I choose my attitude, my response, my outcomes every single day. That's what it means to her.
And I love both of those answers, because it really is about the outcome, and that's the same thing that Dominic was talking about. If my outcome is to eat healthy or to get healthy, right? It's the choice that I make in regards to that. And for me, I did a Facebook Live about this in the last week or so. The other piece about that for me was having integrity with the commitments that I make to myself. So if I say I'm going to eat healthy, then choosing the cake isn't going to get me to that outcome, right? And so when I make those choices very consciously to make the healthy choice, it's super easy, because then I feel really good about myself as well, because I've kept my commitment to myself. I've built trust with myself. We are a choice, and for me, it's all about the high-five choice. When I make a high-five choice, I'm moving towards what I want. When I'm making a choice from a story, I'm moving away from what I want. I'm moving back into my comfort zone. Those high-five choices lead to high-five moments. And y'all know those moments, right? When you feel really good about yourself. So when you've made that healthy choice, I got to New York, I went to the market, and I bought veggies and protein, and fantastic. But there was some other really awesome looking stuff, like the pizza place, right? New York pizza. No, that wouldn't have gotten me to my outcome. And that was my choice for me.
Excellent. Yeah, those, I was thinking about that before we got started, Barb, when you were talking about the first thing that you did, when you got there is you went to the market and you got some food, because you're focused on that outcome of making those health choices. And it would have been very easy for you to just go grab that slice. After all, you're in New York. How do you not eat pizza when you're in New York? And we have those stories. I have those stories. And yet, focused on the outcome, we get to make those choices. We're always making choices. And that's why we believe that key message is our first message, because we are always at choice. Janet, you have any insight to what does I am at choice mean to you?
Well, for me, right now is making the choice to step out of my comfort zone. I found that I'm kind of falling back into it since it's been a while since I went to the High5 course. So I'm every day making a conscious choice to do something that's outside my comfort zone.
Perfect.
That's mine.
Yeah, that's good for you. That is a choice, right? We get to make the choice of do I settle back into the comfort zone or do I keep pushing? Understanding that the more we push outside that comfort zone, the bigger the comfort zone actually gets, because as we get outside, it becomes more comfortable, and then we have to push again to keep stretching that comfort zone, and that's absolutely a choice. Very good. Awesome. Anything else out there on Facebook, Barb, as it relates? I'm gonna ask Barb or Dominic, just because we get the feedback with Michelle, since we're in opposite rooms here. It's probably a little easier. Anything else that you guys see out there?
Marla also said that she's 3 years caffeine free because she chooses to be. Yeah, and I am 100. This is like day 106 without Starbucks. Yay! I feel so rich now.
That is like $3,000.
Hey, our own Snuggly Bear is on, and she says she pushed by reaching out to her sister. Huge high five for me.
Good
Awesome.
job. Way to go, Cindy.
Way to go, Cindy. Good for you. And so that actually leads me to my next question, which is, what's a high five choice that you recently made for yourself? So when you think about the choices that we make, we don't always make great, I speak for myself, I don't always make great choices. And yet there are high five choices that I also make. And again, I'll go first. One of the choices that I've been making is to go ride my bicycle and be on this keto style eating plan. That's what prompted the conversation with me and Dom earlier this morning, talking about choice and about diet. So I have the choice to sit on the couch or to get up and go out and ride my bicycle. And so for me, that's a big high five choice. Because up until very recently, my choice has been to not ride the bicycle. And, so it's interesting. I just thought of this. It wasn't that I was choosing not to ride the bicycle. I was choosing to sit on the couch, which is choosing not to ride the bicycle. Hi, Laura. So the choice I've made, the high five choice, is make different health choices. I've been interested for a long time, and now I'm experiencing the difference between interest and commitment. I'm committed to doing it, and it feels a whole lot better. So that's my high five choice.
Hey, just as a fun sidebar, our boy Jason is on. Son, Jason?
Your boy, Jason. Hey, Jason.
Well, hi, Jason. Hello, son. So I didn't know if you were referring to, your boy, because I got the boys. Your boy Jason, and I'm like, who's my boy Jason? My son Jason.
I actually said our boy Jason is on.
She did say that.
Yeah.
Well, you and I are definitely on the same wavelength. Before you asked what high five choices are you making, I actually put it out on Facebook. So, yeah, scary sometimes, Kev. And Marla's response was, I am journaling daily and listening to podcasts, High Performance Habits, keeping my mind focused on growing me. And hey, Jason. Missed you. All right, I will go. High five choice that, in addition to eating, is working out. So I had actually stopped working out purposefully. That was a high five choice actually for me as well. But back working out, and I will just tell you, my abs are really, really, really happy with me. They talked to me a lot today because I gave them a big workout yesterday. That was a high five choice to keep that core intact.
Nice. Who else?
I was
High five choices.
I was thinking about it as you were saying it, and nothing was really popping out. And then something that's really, really close to me is my son. So I'm going to tell you that as far as outside interests, movies, music, whatnot, we have very little in common. My wife is his mom, so we have that. But other than that, we go in two different directions. And it's taken me a long time, years and years, to figure out that although I love my son to death and I want the best for him, talking about his interests don't have anything to do with his interests. So making the choice to be involved in his life, whether his interests or mine, don't matter, but making the choice to actually be present with him and whatever he is interested in, and be interested in it for him, not for the interest. So making that choice to reconnect, I'm proud of that choice.
That's great.
Nice. Good for you, Dominic. And good for Caleb. Sweet. Janet, Michelle?
Well, so I don't know, as long as I can do this, I hate to get the feedback. The high five choices that I'm making recently are also relative to my health. I am a perpetual night owl, have always been. Even when I was a little kid, up until wee hours in the morning. I don't know why, but I have been, along with Kevin and the healthier food choices journey, I have actually been going to bed every night before going to sleep every night before midnight, because I watch TV for a couple hours when I go to bed. But anyway, been going to sleep every night before midnight for the last couple of weeks, which for me is a huge dramatic change. Up until then, I was living my life like a fraternity. Let's go with a fraternity guy. I was going to bed at 3 a.m. and waking up at 10 or whatever. And yeah, I see the, don't you judge me.
I don't know if I'm judging. I just feel like, oh my God, how do you survive?
And so that's and actually it's done a lot of good. The other thing I'm doing is that I work from home, and lately I've been feeling really antsy because I spend a lot of time here and I'm not around the people so much except for my family. And so what I'm doing now is I'm getting up in the morning and I'm showering and getting dressed and doing all the things that I would do if I were going someplace like out in the world to a job. And that has done a whole lot to improve my attitude and clear up that antsy feeling and frankly, making me more productive just in general. So there.
Good stuff.
Yay. Especially the part about showering every day. People like that.
I know, shower boy.
All right. How about you, Janet?
Well, nothing really pops out that I've been high five doing lately. I've been, well, except for when I was on vacation because I forgot my journal, but I've been journaling every morning. Sometimes, thank you. Sometimes I forget to send it because I send it to Barb and Dominic. But that's the one thing I think that's kind of helping me and keeping me going instead of completely reverting to my old ways.
Good. So yeah, so congratulations on doing that, Janet, and absolutely just celebrate the times you do it, and if you forget the journal, well, so be it. Doesn't mean you can write it on a piece of paper, right? So it's the act though of making that choice to do that. You know, so why are you journaling? How does it benefit you to journal?
Well, it keeps me focused on what I'm doing for personal that day and then for business. But the big thing is the gratitudes, I think, because I really have to think about what I'm grateful for. A lot of times it's just my family, but there's so much to be grateful for, and it does start the day off positive.
Awesome. Yeah, so absolutely celebrate that. That's a huge High5 choice, because you could choose not to journal. And so the fact that you're focused on it and you make that choice and you send it to Barb and Dominic, that's absolutely a High5 choice. Good job. All right. Anybody out on Facebook had any other input, things that they, High5 choices that they're making for themselves?
Don't see anything, but everybody's all about some gratitude. I have, can I switch topics for just a sec?
Yes, of course.
So this was something that I overheard today at the airport, and it kind of just hurt my heart a little bit, and it was an awareness, and so it's been on my mind, so I thought I would just share and kind of open up the floor to it. So there was a couple with 2 children, and I'm guessing they were like 6 or 7, that range. Not tiny, but little humans. And it was clear that they had driven from somewhere that's a bit of a drive to Chicago to get on the plane to come. They were on my flight to New York. And the kids were talking to each other, so I was just eavesdropping. They were right in front of me in line. And they were talking about how horrible the trip was from Michigan. And I thought, well, that's super interesting that these little kids, their whole story they're very negative, had a super negative story. And I thought, wow, how sad to have already gotten the programming at that age about how horrible, and it was just all negative, and it was like, and I'm really not looking to come across judgmental. It was a wake-up call for me, and for all of what I'd like it to be is a wake-up call for all of us, is how children are little sponges of everything that they observe in their life. And you know that it wasn't them that came up with the idea that that car drive was horrible. They got that from someplace else, and they might have gotten it over the years, right? And I don't know that they got it today. And they don't come into the world thinking it's horrible. They don't. And how we show up in this life with the people around us. So our kids, our grandkids, but honestly with anybody, we're putting out that vibration and that energy, and we are impacting the people around us. And I think, wow, if they're so negative and just observing them, it was clear that was pretty much the environment. By the time they get to be adults, they're coming from such a deficit to be able to learn how to choose joy, and that they are at choice, right? So the difference that we can make in sharing these messages that we have and helping people understand that they really are at choice, since that's what we're talking about tonight, and what does that mean for them? Because what choice means is complete freedom. And I'm gonna go back to the eating thing again, because there's a lot of people that think that I eat super restrictive. And what they don't understand is, by making the choice to eat in that fashion, it's given me a lot of freedom from having to make all of these other choices that weren't benefiting me. So it was just interesting. And Marla, I know, yeah, I see you say it's surreal. I know you've got to see that in schools all of the time. And a high five to you, as always, my friend. So Marla took what she learned at High5 and took it back to her teachers and her school, and they do opening circles and closing circles and affirmations and positive stuff all of the time now. She'll send me little videos and things that just touch my heart. And that's what's so, how do we make sure that we're filling our kids with stuff that's really going to benefit? So that's just on my heart today, watching that.
And it's frankly, it's hard to live it as well. I have 3 kids, and until I had this learning 6 years ago, I was one of those people. And ironically, I used to think I was so positive and upbeat and, you know, cheerleader, Rebecca, Sunnybrook Farm kind of person. And I just realized now it's just because everybody else is so not positive. And as a result, my children are not positive most of the time, frankly. And now that being said, I know that every day between TV, movies, social media, friends, other adults, I know every day they're inundated with more negative messages than they are with positive messages. And it's very hard to overcome. It is that at this point in raising children, it is the most challenging aspect to have them believe that they have the choice to be kind to themselves and to give themselves credit and high fives when they're good. I have one daughter who is really good at volleyball, and for her life will not admit to that, will not say anything good about her volleyball abilities. And it's such a struggle, and frankly, it breaks my heart for them because that's how they're facing life, and I know that is so hard, and that, you know, sucks the life out of anybody. Not to mention their little spirits.
Well, so you made a couple of really important points. One is that it's clearly not all in our control as parents, right?
Right.
So who knows where those kids that I was observing today, they could have gotten it from multiple people. And the best thing that we can do is just show up positive and continue to be the role model. That's really what I was thinking about when you were talking about that, Michelle, is because especially at their age, they get to make their own choices as well.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's just being the role model and seeing what they get in. Marla gives you some. She's like, Michelle, hang in there, stay the course. I promise it gets so much better. Speaking from somebody who's kids are.
Thanks, Marla. And you know, I do show up as the role model so much now, and they call me a hippie.
You give yourself a high five when they do that.
Yep.
A hippie, hashtag hippie. So,
hashtag my mom's a hippie.
you know, the other thing that whole conversation just now made me think about was a post that I did yesterday. Yesterday was Global Forgiveness Day. And in preparation for doing my Facebook Live yesterday, I went back and reviewed one of my favorite authors' books, The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. And when you were talking about those kids, it made me think of this passage, and I just want to read this quick passage because it makes so much sense. And he said, "For many years, my greatest enemy has been myself. Every mistake, every miscalculation, every stumble I made has been replayed again and again in my mind. Every broken promise, every day wasted, every goal not reached has compounded the disgust I feel for the lack of achievement in my life. My dismay has developed a paralyzing grip. When I disappoint myself, I respond with inaction and become more disappointed. I realize today that it's impossible to fight an enemy living in my head. By forgiving myself, I erase the doubts, fears, and frustrations that have kept my past in the present, and from this day forward, my history will cease to control my destiny. I forgive myself. My life has just begun." And it all comes back to the choice. The choice to forgive, the choice of the stories that we tell ourselves, the choice of being positive or negative. It's all choice. And when we take that victim stance of I have to do things, or I must do something, or I can't do something, all those things that we've been talking about, that really does rob us of our power and makes us truly powerless. And what we have to understand is that even in those moments, we're still making the choice.
Right.
That's the choice we're committed to.
And so many people are in, what they believe are bad places in their lives, whether it's a bad relationship, a bad job, a bad financial situation, bad health, whatever it is. And often I hear people say, I don't have any choices. I can't do anything about this. What am I supposed to do? And there's this absolute powerlessness and helplessness. And, so you may not have a choice that the housing market goes in the dumper and now your house isn't worth anything. You have the absolute choice about how it affects you and how you live your life every day relative to that. Feel the emotion, feel the anger, get crazy, whatever that does to you, just don't live there.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
like you got something to say.
Dominic.
Just what you were talking about, the kids in the airport, just reminded me of something else. I wrote a post not too long ago, or I shared that we went down to Los Angeles for a few days off with the family, and I was feeling a lot better. I've had a problem breathing with my lungs, an asthmatic issue over the past year. So I was walking around and feeling pretty good until we got to Universal Studios. And the distance between the parking garage and the front gate is a long way. And by the time I got there, the 3 days of walking around had caught up with me, and I couldn't walk very far and I couldn't breathe. So the family was stopping every 50 feet because I stopped. So I finally told them, go ahead, I'll catch up. We all have cell phones, so just text me where you're at and I'll find you. And they said, no, we'll stay here with you. I'm like, well, that's not going to do. My goal of going down there and having them create memories and have a good time, and there's no school, there's no work, just do whatever you want to do. That goal is not being met by them stopping every 50 feet. There's a place in the beginning of almost every major amusement park where you can rent a wheelchair or a stroller. And Rhonda saw that and said, did you want to rent a wheelchair? And I said, no, I'm not going to rent a wheelchair. I'll be fine. I'll just power through it. But you guys go have fun. Go do whatever you want to do, and I'll catch up. I'll eventually get in there. And they said, no, we'll wait for you. I realized then what a hindrance I was being. So in my mind, I made the choice it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not worry about how I'm going to look to other people or how I'm going to feel. But I shared that on Facebook. What I didn't share is I said, finally, this is not going to be fun for them if we're stopping every 50 feet. So let's go ahead and get the wheelchair. And I pretty much ended the story there. But what Barb just reminded me of was when I got in a wheelchair, it is a hindrance. It's still a hindrance, you know, to get in between all the crowds of people. So that to me wasn't making me feel good, that somebody's got to push me around. So my mood, my attitude was not at an all-time high. Although I wasn't grumpy or yelling at anybody, I wasn't mad. I certainly wasn't happy. I was funky, for lack of a better word. So I wasn't creating the attitude that would create a good memory. And I didn't realize that for a good hour. So we went on a couple of rides, did a couple of things, took a couple of tours at Universal Studios, and then the kids went off and did some rides on their own. And then at that point I realized that the wheelchair isn't the end all. So yes, I made that choice, but making a choice and being grumpy, doing something for your kids or your spouse, like going to a recital or going to an event with a spouse that you didn't want to go to. And I know me and Barb had this conversation recently. If you show up and you show up with a less than stellar attitude, I'm not sure what good you were doing there in the first place. That right. It doesn't do anybody any good. You're like, well, I went to that thing with you. Thank you. I don't know that was the gift. So, when Barb said that, I realized that I did not include that in that story, that getting the wheelchair wasn't the gift. That wasn't the, you know, I did it for you. I'm sitting down in the chair, happy. Well, no, not if you're going to carry that around the rest of the day, but actually choosing that and keeping that power of that choice, that's what I wanted to get to where I wanted to go. That's where it makes the difference. So it wasn't just making that choice, but it was making that choice full well knowing where it's going to take me.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's super powerful. And it's true. And I had a situation the other day, and same thing. I was not going to be, I had something else that I wanted to get accomplished. And so it was better for me to stay there than to go do something that I really didn't want to do. So that was a purposeful choice as well.
You know,
powerful stuff.
Yeah, it is powerful stuff. One of the things that this just made me think about was a conversation that we had a few months ago when we were reading the book, The Big Leap, and we were talking about time and the statement of, I don't have time to do something. And the reality to that is that's also a choice. So the reality is I do have time. I'm just choosing not to use my time for that. Right. So even those things where it's like I'm a victim to the time, but I'm really not. I just choose to do other things. So, Adam, you joined us, so welcome. Any insight or anything you'd like to talk about? High-5 choices you've made for yourself. What does choice mean to you?
Oh, what does choice mean to me? Choice to me was when I fully understood what choice was. I realized that the sky's the limit. We talk about this all the time. My biggest thing being the Spartan races. I've now done my sprint. I have done my super and my beast in 10 days, roughly 10 days. So I've made the choice to do that on top of I'm a full-time college student. I work full-time, and I'm part of the High5 leadership. So what you just said, though, about not having time, I used to make that excuse. I didn't. Now I'm perfect. This is where I want. I'm attaining my dreams because I made the choice to.
Oh, frozen. You made the choice. We'll end it. Oh, there it is. Go for it. The suspense is killing me.
Did Adam freeze for everybody? Is Adam frozen for everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Adam.
All right. So,
I'm sure it's awesome. And, you know, relative to so to your point about the big leap, I actually read a journal article that in the APA, American Psychiatric Association journal, and it talked about the addiction of busy, and again the thought of time and not having enough time, and that in particular women use "I don't have time, I'm busy" as an excuse for a lot of things. So, you know, as women now, we have, you know, sometimes we have kids, we run our households, we run our businesses, we work full-time jobs, whatever that looks like. Sometimes, and in a lot of cases, we have older parents that we're taking care of, and we're doing all these other things for other people, and now we don't have time for us. And as I say to many people, you know, when is it time for you? Are you sick in the hospital and now it's time for you? Are you crazy and having an emotional breakdown and now's a good time? It needs to be a priority to make time for the things that are truly important. And I would contend that the most important thing is you.
Well said. I believe we have something in our class that deals with that very issue.
I know, and you'll notice how deftly I stepped around it.
All right. Well, we are right up against our hour, even though we started a little bit late. So unless anybody has anything else they would like to share tonight, I think that's as good a place as any for us to wrap it up. Anybody have any final thoughts?
No. Oh, yes, I guess I always do, right? High five choices lead to high five moments, lead to a high five life. So how about creating that, right? That life. And I want to just talk, when I talk about a high five life, that doesn't mean that everything goes perfect. That doesn't exist. What it means is that I find the gift in everything, and I'm still celebrating all of the good. I'm looking for the things that I'm grateful for to really create that high five life. And so it's saying, I love my life. Even those days when there's some crap going on that didn't feel so good in the moment, what's the gift in that? And looking at it in totality and what I can learn and what I'm creating and have the opportunity to give. That's, I love my life. And that is my wish for every single person on this planet, is to get to the point where they say, I love my life. That's when my work will be done. So that's what we got. That's what I got, and we got some more work to do, guys.
That's what we got.
Yeah. So, absolutely. Well, thank you, Janet, Dominic, Adam's black box, and Adam's frozen image.
I know it was amazing and deep, Adam. I know it.
And thank you, Barb. Thank you, everybody out on Facebook. We have a class coming up, September 21st and 23rd, our next intensive class. And if you have not been to it, you should talk to somebody about doing that. And if you have been to it, you should tell all your friends that they should do it. And then we also have another Evolve class coming up. So if you've been to our 3-day class, or you've been to any intensive leadership type training, we do have an Evolve class coming up in October 20th, 21st, also in San Diego. Would love to have conversations with you about that as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Go out and make this week awesome. Yesterday was Global Forgiveness Day, so if you got some forgiveness that needs to happen, to go ahead and let that shit go. And thank you again for being here. Have a great night. We love you all. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Love you. Thank you.